AITA for breaking up with my boyfriend of 8 months after hearing his views on divorce. I 26F have been with my boyfriend 28M for 8 months. He's been the perfect boyfriend. He's sweet and caring, he always shows up for me, plus he's great in bed. Obviously, as we all do, he does have some flaws, but they aren't anything you'd break up with someone over. A week ago we were at his place and we were in bed talking about our childhoods. My father cheated on my mother and got his affair partner pregnant. He then married the affair partner shortly after his divorce to my mother was finalized. However, their marriage has been awful. He's cheated on her multiple times throughout their marriage of over 2 decades and he hasn't bothered to hide it. He's rude to her and completely disrespects her. They both work to pay the bills, but she does all the cleaning and cooking. The most he'll do is grill maybe once or twice during the summer and brag about it to everyone for the rest of the year. Long story short, my dad is a pos. His affair partner doesn't believe in divorce as it is heavily against her religion, so she stays with him despite despising him. While she did participate in the wreckage of my parents' marriage, my father was a pos to my mother too and he probably would have cheated on her with someone else if the affair partner didn't come along. Also, the affair partner was much younger than my dad and pressured to peruse him by her parents. It's also been over 20 years. She's still not the best person, but I don't think she deserves to be tied to that man for the rest of her life. I told my boyfriend about my childhood lore, and how I felt about it. He then asked me if I would divorce someone who cheated on me and I looked him sternly in the eye and answered yes. He seemed shocked and it threw me off. 2 questions enter my head. 1. Why after hearing my whole story would you think I would condone cheating? 2. Why does it seem like you don't think cheating is a big deal? So I ask him why he's shocked and he then says that when you love someone enough you should be able to forgive him for cheating. I retort back by saying that if someone genuinely loves you they wouldn't cheat on you. I am firm in that belief. Cheating is vile and anyone who cheats on you doesn't care about you. He doesn't agree with that. He thinks sometimes, things happen, and after he said that we just stared at each other in silence for a while. We didn't really talk about it for the rest of the night and just laid in bed, but the entire time I was rethinking our relationship. In my head, his response means he's either cheating on me or is going to cheat on me. A small part of me felt like I was overreacting, but his reaction and what he said is something I can't get over. I could feel the feelings I had for him fading the more I thought about it. The next morning before we left for work I broke up with him. Maybe I should have waited for a better time, but I wanted to leave that relationship as soon as possible. I can't really give much detail about our breakup because it got really personal and I honestly blanked for most of it. He was screaming a lot and I was dissociating, which honestly made him even more angry. Once again, I had already decided we were done, so I just didn't want to be there. Now it's been a week and he keeps making new phone numbers on different apps to message me. No one else has gotten involved because we're both the type of people who don't share our personal life. The way he's spamming my phone and making different numbers does make me realize that he was definitely crazy. However, I'm wondering if I was the jerk for breaking up with him. Not factoring in his reaction to the breakup, did he have a point? I've heard of marriages that worked out after one party cheated, so I wonder if maybe my father caused me to have harsh views on the topic. Do you guys think what he said about divorce was grounds for breaking up? Do you think it was a red flag? Edit. I commented this, but decided to put it into the post as well. Comment down arrow. Hi. Sorry, I don't ever post on here so I don't know if just commenting is the proper way to go about this. I just wanted to touch on some things I saw in the comments. 1. His reaction rubbed me the wrong way, because of how he phrased it. I wouldn't break up with someone who had different views on forgiving a cheater. If he had told me that he could see himself forgiving someone for cheating, then I would have felt differently. The way he phrased it, his body language, and his voice all made it seem like he was excusing his cheating or his possible cheating. 2. When I approached him the morning before we left, it was towards the end of breakfast. Whenever we stayed at each other's apartments, no, I do not live with him, we would have breakfast together and either one of us or both of us would leave for work afterwards. I don't start the conversation with announcing that I'm breaking up with him. I began by explaining that I wanted to revisit our conversation from last night and said that his reaction to the telling of my family's history made me uncomfortable and it made me doubt his loyalty. While I had already decided that I wanted to break up with him, if he had a positive reaction to me expressing my concerns, I would have tried to hear him out. His first reaction was to say that I was projecting past onto him. I said that if he truly feels this way then we can revisit that topic later, but at that moment I wanted to focus on his reaction to what I said because I needed him to clarify the intent behind it. He completely avoided the topic. The entire time he just kept talking about how good of a boyfriend he was and making me feel like because I wasn't portraying my emotions in the way he was, that I never truly cared about him at all. It honestly just felt like he was gaslighting me and he was screaming so loud, so eventually I just zoned out. I didn't leave as soon as he started to scream because at first I wanted to try to hear him out and then eventually I just felt like me storming out would make him angrier and I felt like I shouldn't do that. 3. In saying all of that, I think that if his views on cheating were that he would be willing to forgive someone who cheated, then he would have taken the moment to specify that when I asked why he was shocked, when he saw my reaction to what he said, and when I approached him about the topic in the morning. I do acknowledge the fact that I am not perfect in this situation though, and I am not claiming to be. I probably should have waited a bit to have this discussion. 4. I appreciate everyone who is concerned for my safety. I do have cameras inside my apartment and outside the door. I don't know what they're called, but I have extra things on my door to make it harder to break in. My schedule is pretty consistent however, so that is something I will keep in mind. This might be stupid of me, but I don't know if I should take this to the police. He hasn't sent anything threatening, just a bunch of stuff apologizing and then asking to talk and some other stuff about me being heartless, because once again, I just didn't have a huge reaction to him screaming at me. 5. I am in therapy. I think it's a great tool. I'm a big advocate. Now here's some background on my stepmom. She's Jehovah's Witnesses. She doesn't have friends outside of the religion or family. As far as I know, if she were to divorce my father she would be excommunicated. Adultery isn't tolerated, but neither is divorce. I was raised mainly with my mom, Southern Baptist, and while I did have to go to the hall with my father a couple times, I'm not familiar with the religion. Her reasons for not leaving my father are all word of mouth from my older sister who has a better relationship with her. My stepmom is not a good person. She has not been good to me, my siblings, my mother, or my dad's family. However, I do not hold any anger or resentment towards her. I think she was a young woman who had a lot of bad influence from her family, corrupt people in her religion, and was also taken advantage of by my father. I don't hate her, I pity her. I'm not really saying people shouldn't be angry at her. I understand why people would not feel any pity for her. Just know that I made my peace with what happened when I was a kid, and while it will probably never happen, I hope one day either she leaves him or he leaves her so the toxic marriage comes to an end.